This is a follow-up video to my previous one on the Hover X1, and this time I'm showing you how to capture footage for cycling from different camera angles, showing you the actual Hover X1. There are 5 pre-programmed modes on the Hover X1. For cycling you'll probably use 3 of the main preset ones and in 1 custom one. The 3 preset ones you will probably use are Follow, which is this video, Hover, and Bird's Eye. This first video will be shot using the Follow mode. As you can see, this video is shot from my helmet cam. The light on the front of the drone goes from green to red. Red indicates it's now filming you. Once the drone is up in the air, that's it. You can just ride off and it will follow you. You can see that the trees are pretty close here. The drone doesn't use GPS but just uses you as a tracking method. It just wants to go where you go. Basically it's an electronic puppy. Here's a good example of why that tracking method isn't always good. The drone always wants to go the quickest way to you, so when you're taking a tight corner it wants to just cut that corner off, and if there's a tree in the way it hits a tree. There is no avoidance sensors on the drone itself, so as long as you're aware of that, the drone should follow you through any gap as long as there's not a tree on that tight apex. Let's spin the helmet camera around so you can see what it's like to follow. I'll play the next clip from the Hover X1 in full. It's only 23 seconds long, but you can tell it's slightly downhill and I get a little bit cocky, a bit carried away, and it hits a tree. To be fair, I'm pushing it to its limits here. The tree's very close. I'm pushing it close to its 25 km/h maximum speed. We'd already had a few tight calls like this section here. Then I took far too much speed going to the left hand corner and boom, there, straight into the tree. Let's look at it from on board of the drone itself. As you can see, it's quite open here, and now we're just going to the closer tree section. You can see from change of direction it always wants to follow you, and it's swinging one way and then swings the other, and it's just too close there. Now I'll push it to the limit on the bike. I want to see how close can I actually go to the trees, how much can it avoid the actual undergrowth. Also, who doesn't love an old strange man walking through the woods in lycra? You can see it's doing a pretty good job. I'm having to duck under some of the branches and it's avoiding everything. You can also see from these shots that the footage is quite good in low light. Both footages are as they came off the camera. Anyway, that's enough of me walking around the woods. Let's move on to more cycling related stuff. This is hover mode. You can fool people into thinking you've got friends and they're filming you from the side of the track. As you can see, I'll ride off and go out of shot round the corner. But as soon as I reappear around the corner again, the Hover X1 picks me up straight away. It then does a good job of tracking me as I come closer and go around the corner, just like you had a real friend. Okay, so once you've finished filming, all you have to do is ride up to the Hover X1, put your hand out and it will land and stop recording automatically. The hover mode gives you options of capturing things that you wouldn't normally be able to do without a tripod. Obviously the only downside is you've got to circle back and go and pick it up again. I always set it up just off the path, so if someone else does come along, they're not going to walk into it or ride into it. The bird's eye view is great for capturing those epic bird's eye views of your mountain bike adventure. The only issue with it is it will only track you from one place, so you will start it, will go straight up, then it will come straight back down. It won't track you or follow you in any way. You can control whether it spins, like in this previous video, or goes straight up, like here. You can also control the height between 5 meters and 15 meters. I find if you do the 15 meter setting, it gives you time to ride off. When you see it hit the peak, ride back under and it will film you all the way down. The custom one you'll probably use is Dolly track, which is where the Hover X1 is ahead of you.
There's quite a strong crosswind here. The first time I ever tried Dolly track mode, I thought this is just not going to work. When you see how buffeted the actual Hover X1 gets when you're going along, it moves all over the place, and you're thinking the picture from this is going to be awful. But whatever stability software they have on the actual Hover X1 is doing an amazing job. As you can see here, it's pretty smooth. Obviously, with the actual drone being out front, you have to be wary that it doesn't know where you're going. It's got no tracking other than it's trying to keep ahead of you. So if the actual drone does go to the side, you just got to slow down a little bit to let it get back ahead of you. Although you can use this to your advantage, you can actually accelerate past the drone and it will track you as if you're doing a passing shot, then pull in behind you and start following you. What I have noticed though, once you've gone past the drone, if it's slowed up or if you have gone too fast for it, it never comes back past again. It always then just follows you. I have a few more clips that I shot with the Hover X1 in the Dolly track mode, but without any of the overlay from the helmet cam, and I will run this in after this little video stops. But as you can see here, it's run beside me. I stop, it tries to get past, but it goes into a bush, but continues flying. Here's a good example of when you unintentionally pass the drone. I think it gets caught by a gust of wind and then goes back past me. Then you can see it just pulls in behind and starts following. Here's a good example of me pushing it beyond its limits again. The trees are very close here, and when it's out front it swings around a lot more than it does when it's following. I try to avoid the mud here, switching side to side, and it hits a tree. If you've used the Hover X1 or have some tips and tricks, or is there something I've missed, please put it in the comments below.